We're in Ravenswood in front of a 101-year-old pickle factory that has been a home for about 30 years. Anton Kerner is the real estate agent who's listing it, and you're going to take us through. But we should first probably, Anton, talk a little bit about the neighborhood. We're in a great spot.
Ravenswood is a really special area, and it's come on strongly since maybe the 70s. It had been a manufacturing area here, and it's largely gone residential on this side of Ravenswood. On the other side of the street, there's still manufacturing.
We've got a train coming, so why don't we go ahead and go in?
Okay.
Well, you know, when we first walk in, it becomes clear we're not just in an artist studio. We're in the home of somebody pretty unusual.
Internationally renowned artist Ruth Duckworth, who has objects far and wide, including the Smithsonian Institute.
Not bad. And there are dozens of them here in the house. We're going to try not to spend too much time looking at them because we're here to see the house.
Right.
But she has lived here for about 30 years. She converted it, as far as we know, from a factory, or it was converted for her
yes, it
from
was
a factory.
An old pickle factory built in 1908.
Oh, that's great. And I think we saw somewhere in the house she got an award for neighborhood beautification for doing this building.
Yes, in 1984 she was given an award for
that's wonderful.
her work here.
Let's take a look at what she did.
Okay.
She turned it into a real working studio. Down here, there's sculpture going on, right?
Yes.
And upstairs, there's living.
Yes. So it is a work-live space, about 3,500 square feet on this level.
All essentially in one room. I think we had some storage back over here, but we've got one room on this floor, bathroom,
yes,
right? And so this would be, if I keep it as an art space, this is how it's going to be, or I could turn it into a very large living space.
Yes.
Living, dining. You've also talked about the possibility of dividing the house into condos.
Yes, possibly dividing it horizontally to take advantage of the great expansive windows because we're on a 50 by 108 foot lot. So you've got 50 feet across of windows, and I think it would be nice to keep that open as opposed to dividing it vertically.
But the challenge there is if we do that, we lose this great skylight, right? This nice atrium. I mean, it's a puzzle because do you chop it one way or the other?
I agree.
Or keep it as one big living space?
If it's single family, a single family could keep it open and enjoy this skylighted atrium and this beautiful light-bathed first floor.
A lot of space, and also, as we were talking about earlier, a lot of hard loft touches. We've got the old beams, probably first growth timber, old growth timber. We've got these, you called this a trolley system, these rolling steel frames that we could use to...
I think originally they must have brought objects in and out here through the doors on the east side of the building here that open out onto the garden.
Wow. And I think we're going to look at it from up above, but another thing that's really nice about this, the fact that this is live and work, is that she's got this catwalk all the way around up above. You were talking to me earlier about the idea that she might get up in the middle of the night or something and walk all around and look at her objects. But also, if that's my living space and this is too, it might be that my kids are up there, right, running around the catwalk and we're down here entertaining.
Yes.
Nice setup.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting space.
It is.
For somebody really creative, I think.
Oh, yeah. Let's go upstairs and see the living space. Now, up here on the second floor is where she has her living space.
Yes, indeed.
So it's much more organized, less sculpture than downstairs. She still has a lot of sculpture in the space because she is working here, but we've got, I think I counted several different nooks. There's a living room area across from us. There's one here. It's typical loft,
and
right?
A green area where she has a skylighted
it's like an indoor yard.
Garden.
It's real loft in that it's one big uncut space and I can divide it up in whatever way I want or not divide it at all.
Yes.
And tell me about this kitchen, because that's pretty cool.
It really, it is. Ms. Duckworth fired these tiles herself, and these tiles that are the facing tiles, the backsplash, the countertop, those are all hers, and then she also fired tiles in that television area.
Oh, wow. The flooring here is her own tile?
Yes.
And then I think we also saw that there's tile that wraps the bathtub that she made.
Yes, in her personal bath.
These are really sort of precious remnants that need to be used in the right way as we move in.
They're the equivalent of a Picasso.
Sure. And while we're here, we should also talk, you were talking about this green space, but they've got it layered here. I really can subdivide this into lots of different kinds of living. It might be TV here and reading there or whatever we want to do.
Yes.
And we've got another skylight to match the big one over the main space.
Yes. And this one is south-facing, and it's accessible from the roof.
Now, I think we're in U-shaped living space, or sort of a horseshoe shape, right? There's bedroom there, bedroom over here.
Two bedrooms.
Two bedrooms over here.
Here, separated by a bath, and then an enormous atrium that Ms. Duckworth made, surrounded by a catwalk that she could view her objects below from 360 degrees.
Oh, great. This is that catwalk we've been talking about.
Yes.
That surrounds the workspace below. And what we have is, I think we had bedrooms on this side and on that side.
That's correct.
We were back over there behind those windows in the living space.
And then the garden is behind us.
That's nice. The garden's also right beside us. I like
that's
this.
true.
This sort of waterfall cactus. I guess this is sort of an indicator of how long she's lived here, if that has grown all the way down the wall.
35.
And her manager,
35 years.
And her manager told us that it blooms. That must
Yes,
be a
I
really
did.
beautiful thing.
I'd love to see that. Hopefully it won't be on the market that long.
Shall we go out to the garden?
Sure, let's go to the garden.
You know, this garden is nice, and I want to talk about it in a minute, but I also want to point out, we just came through an art workroom that we hadn't shown on camera, but that is enormous and would make a great first floor kitchen. The kitchen now is on the second, but it's real easy. You mentioned there's plumbing in this room.
Yes, so if it were maintained as a single-family residence, you could put a kitchen at this level, or if it were divided into condominiums horizontally, that could be a kitchen as well.
And from that kitchen, spill out into this nice garden. This is terrific. It's nice. She's got the brick walks that match the beautiful old brick. She's really gardened here. It's got sort of an English garden feel, and we know she's from England. She did a great thing out here.
It's really beautiful. It's a space about 44 feet wide, enclosed, and 36 feet deep.
Oh, nice. And we're on the alley. There's abundant street parking, but I think you said we could get a garage permit if needed, right?
I think so. You notice that the brick path here is the width of a car tire.
Oh, yeah.
And so you could bring your car in here.
Sure.
Of course, you wouldn't have the planting there in the middle.
Right.
But and it's possible, I think, to put a garage underneath the building in the
in the basement. Sure. It's interesting because this building is such a relic, as we said earlier, of old industrial Ravenswood, but it's also surrounded by all kinds of new houses. What has changed here is everything that's around this building. So this is sort of the nice little refuge from what has come later.
Yes, and there are several buildings that have been converted in the area that were manufacturing buildings and converted into condominiums and residences.
But Ruth Duckworth, as I understand, she came early, right?
She came early. She, 35 years ago, something of a pioneer in the neighborhood when it was mostly manufacturing and kind of